Okay, I feel like the other day you were talking about something and I don't think we finished it. So it was like you're like suddenly you got this burst of like feeling like you could get all this stuff done.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what happened, but we didn't finish that conversation.
I feel like I was trying to figure out, well, we might have to ask the bubble. I was trying to figure out if, like, is it because I cleared something? Is it because I'm not sick anymore? Is it because, even though I have allergies, but that's not a sickness? Is it because I drank the mushroom tea, started drinking that mushroom coffee stuff? Is it because those drinks that we got at Orangely have that L-theanine or whatever it is in it?
Yeah, are those the kava drinks that have L-theanine in them?
Yeah. Um, it may not be any of those things, but I was telling Justin how I went when I was sick with all of that. I thought I was broken. I thought my brain was broken. I thought my energy was broken because I couldn't focus and I had no energy to do anything. And then all of a sudden last week, it all came back.
But you don't know what changed exactly.
No, I mean, I didn't feel quote unquote sick the week prior, but the energy and focus wasn't there. So I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I just got everything done. Everything had amazing clarity. I focused like I haven't focused in what feels like years.
Yeah, but you're like such a hard worker that I bet you just don't remember the last that focus moment you had.
I don't know. Maybe. Well, what you know what was gone was the brain fog was gone.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like that lifted, the veil, my own personal veil, brain fog lifted. I don't know. Maybe I crossed some fucking weird threshold in perimenopause. I don't know.
Yeah.
We have all these fucking robots. Why do we not have the little personal ones that can at any moment be like, oh, guess what? Your brain fog is lifted. Your adrenal glands are back to normal. Their sickness is gone. You should feel amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could be coming someday, but we'd have to like be giving them blood all the time, or they'd have to be like attached to our arm or something.
Yeah, probably already are. Um, yeah, so that's what I was trying to figure out is what exactly shifted that I probably will never know. But we could ask the bubble
All right, let's do it.
and see what the bubble says.
Before we start the bubble, you can't hear it right now, but like let me know if the there's like these things spinning around in the window up there to prevent the birds from smashing their heads to death into the window, and sometimes they clank because now it's windy. So just let me know if that gets annoying.
Okay, I can't hear anything.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, we can go into the bubble. I'll go into the bubble, you ask a question.
Mm-hmm. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I all of a sudden, well, it feels like all of a sudden, have a level of clarity and focus that it feels like I haven't had in a while? Clarity, focus, and energy.
They're basically going, they're like boop, 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 boop. You guys remember the TiVo rewind sound?
Yeah, I love
Boop,
that
boop, boop,
sound
boop, boop,
actually.
boop, boop, boop,
That
boop,
was the best part
boop,
of
boop, boop, boop,
TiVo.
boop. Okay, we're rewinding back to the hurricane and then how like you were trying to clear and then you went to Mexico and you got sick, which was actually part of the clearing. And kind of Mexico helped you clear the trauma from the hurricane. And it's like it's not linear. I don't know. I kind of feel like sometimes when people talk about clearing trauma, there's it's like everyone it's like people think there's like a systemized way to do it or like a certain way that it looks. And what they're
Mhm.
saying is it's like it looks like so many different things. It can be a flu-like illness like you had. Remember from like doing yoga teacher training, they would say, somebody might be in pigeon, they might start crying because there's like some kind of trauma trapped in the body and the hips, which is actually really
Mhm.
common. So they're just giving examples of what that can look like. So there's no prescription for any one thing, and there's no like one way to clear a certain kind of trauma. there's no one way to clear it for a certain person. Like it, they would never want us to have a prescription of like Candy always needs to clear trauma by going to Mexico and getting the flu.
Well, that's good.
Thank goodness. They're just like there's so many different ways. It's more about the willingness and the like allowance of that of whatever needs to come forward and kind of like this energy of okay, I know there's something coming up for me, so I just need to give myself the space to let it come up. And they're showing me, remember I had that like I don't even know what the breakthrough was, but the way I got to it was listening to classical music. Like it just created the space in my brain. So they're just like the endless list of things you can do to help clear. Okay, so that's what okay, so anyway, Mexico and this particular time was helping you. And this had come up before, like when you were asking about it, they were like, you can do breath work, you can go scream, you can punch up bed, you can like just sob and cry. And they were giving you ideas of things to do, giving yourself the space to do it. But it's like, maybe you kind of ignored it. And so then you ended up getting sick.
I mean, I did some of it.
You did some of it, but it was like, it was also kind of like, you guys were able to hold space for each other too, because you'd both been through it when you went to Mexico, the two of you. So it was like, there was a little bit like of your energy of like, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and get it over with.
Oh, very much. Yeah.
So like, this was the easiest way to rip the Band-Aid off. Cause it, like, they're like, woman down. Like when you're, like, you're just comatose. There's nothing you can do about it. So
No.
it's like, you're like, let's just finish this and be done with it. And it's like, there's just something for you and the alignment of going to Mexico, especially the Yucatan area, which is like the Mayans. Is that the Mayans?
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
sure is.
It used to be a Spanish teacher. I should fucking know that. Yeah, the Mayan. It's like the Mayan energy that's down there is a really big healing energy for you because you've had big healing experiences there. Like think about when you were in Playa for your birthday that one year and you got the stomach flu.
Yeah.
And you were like,
Hallucinating.
you were hallucinating. You were like, why is this football game? It was, what was it?
It was a
Super Bowl
Super
in
Bowl.
Spanish. You're like, why is this in Spanish? And did I dream it or did Destiny's Child get back together? We were like, confirmed. Destiny's Child got back together.
I was so out of it.
So you got sick there. They were showing your experience when you stayed in Tulum by yourself for a little while, like the breakthroughs you had there. They're just like, this is a big breakthrough type of place for you. And it's just like an alignment of some past life energy with the Mayans. So side note, they're saying traveling can also heal some of these things because they're streaming through from, they're putting quotes around past lives or other lifetimes.
Or according to quantum theory, current lifetimes.
That's what they were like. We don't need to get into that. They're
Past
like,
and
just watch
present.
Lost. You get the sideways life and the forward life and the bad. Like, yes, all at the same time. Okay, so yes. So then you went to Mexico. You were still kind of getting through the sickness because then they're also like, the physical plane is just slower. Things just take longer, unless there's like this really concentrated, there's always a fucking exception. They're always like, except, there's that one video of those like monks that are like chanting and that tumor heals in front of your eyes. I'm like, okay, great. They're like, there's always exceptions, but generally speaking, it takes a while for things to process out through the body. And you don't want to rush those kinds of things. Like it's part of the healing process. So then they're saying like, then you're back and you're continuing to heal. And it was just like, even though you felt like you weren't sick anymore, the brain fog was an indication that you still were kind of sick. So when it completely cleared your body, the trauma and the illness, that's when you felt like your brain was back online and you were like fully functioning again.
Okay.
So it had just not completely cleared. Do you feel different from that? This is the Laura question. Do you feel different from that? Like, can you tell the trauma's cleared from the hurricane?
I don't know. Well, wait a minute. They were actually giving me clues now that I think about it. So when I went back to Asheville for that visit at the end of March, that big, huge storm came through, which the one that like made its way through several states and killed like 34 people,
Mm-hmm.
remember? So that storm came through. It was super windy. There were like wind gusts of up to 50 miles an hour. The electricity went off. The elevator went back out. So like there were lots of things that happened on that visit that also happened during the storm. And it happened like the day after I got there. And Justin was like, oh my God, this timing is terrible. Like thinking that all those things were going to re-trigger like the hurricane response. You know, like just the elevator being out itself was huge because like now I'm right back to having to take Sheba up and down the stairs, like the whole thing. But I was fine with all of it. I didn't get wigged out. I think he kept waiting for me to like have a freak out about it. But now looking back, I was like, oh, I didn't. Like, I was like, oh, this is familiar. I've done this before. But I wasn't like, fuck this place. I'm out of here. Not that I've done that before or anything. Yeah, and then when I came back, oh, and we did a walk around the River Arts District. Saw all of that destruction still. Didn't feel a reaction to it other than a disappointment because it was such a beautiful area. We drove through Biltmore Village. Also just more of a disappointment because nothing's open down there still. It's still being rebuilt. So I didn't have like the body reactions that I had before, or like when I would see it on Instagram and immediately like feel it in the body and then start crying. And then when I came back to Indy after that visit, the elevator was out here. And I was like, okay, so the elevators go out everywhere. Cool. And like a big storm came through here. So I felt the exact same in both places.
Yeah. So it just,
So it seems like it might have gotten cleared.
yeah. Well, I mean, think about like before you went to Mexico, how was your like focus?
Oh, no, none.
Yeah. Like,
Inability.
so have you had focus since the hurricane, which was last
No,
fall?
no.
Right. So I think that's
That's
what they're like, let's look at like, I don't know if that was I guess I thought it was my question. I don't fucking know if it was my question or not. Like, let's look at like how you've been since the hurricane all the way back.
feeling like a hurricane. Like it's just like constantly spinning and not getting any traction. That is how I would
Hmm.
describe it. Okay, yeah, no. Good question.
And that feels like it's back to like you're back to candy normal.
Yeah, whatever that is. But yeah, I have a follow-up question though, since we're like
Okay.
digging into this stuff.
All right.
So I've told you before about some of like the memory lapses or the inability to like recall things that I have.
Perimenopause.
Well, no, but this goes like way back to when I was working in corporate.
Oh,
Where,
no, I don't know about this.
yes, okay, so I regularly traveled for work. And granted, so this job was incredibly stressful, and I probably drank more than I should have, and probably did not, and definitely did not sleep enough, and was diagnosed at one point with severe adrenal fatigue and early onset Alzheimer's.
Yeah, and you were
Because,
going to get all those supplements. I kind of remember this now. Okay.
yeah, I was having all this blood work done, getting all these supplements, had to do the elimination diet, all this stuff. But the memory lapses got so bad, or like, I don't even know if they were lapses. It was like, it was almost like short-term memory didn't exist for me sometimes. Like, I would leave my hotel room to go to dinner on the road, and I would have to put in the notes on my phone the name of the hotel and my room number because it wasn't always guaranteed that I could find my way back to my hotel after dinner because I didn't. I just like it's like it was be completely blank. Like I'd walk out of having dinner at a restaurant and be like, I have no idea where to go.
It's fucked up, girl.
Super
Damn.
fucked up, super terrifying. Or I'd get like back to the hotel, like I'd be like, okay, I know the hotel. And I get back to the hotel and I'd get in the hotel and be like, I have no idea what my room number is. Now, some of this could have been because I was traveling so much and there was so much stress that it was all blurring together, but it was still getting all fucked up in my brain.
Yeah.
So that was a very specific time period. Now, I sometimes will have conversations with my sister where my sister will say, remember that thing from when we were little? And she can recount the experience in vivid detail. I have no recollection of it. Also, I could like chalk up to maybe normal because like, I don't know, maybe it wasn't that big of a deal for me, but usually the things that she's describing were big deals to me at the time. I can't remember those. And then like the other day when you were talking about when we went to Spain and we missed the connection in Dublin, and you were like, remember when we almost missed the flight back to Indianapolis out of Dublin because we didn't realize that we had to go through immigration, and like you also could recall it in such detail. I have no memory of it. Now, perhaps you could describe it to me in such detail that I could like rebuild it or like kind of grab pieces of it. But there is definitely something going on, it would appear. What does the bubble say? Like,
Okay.
is there a brain tumor in there that is pressing against memories that I don't want to know about? Or is it just like stress related? Because I have paid attention. It does still happen. And I have paid attention. And there seems to be a correlation between when I am probably stressed, either mentally, emotionally, or physically, or all three.
Okay, this is interesting. All right.
And while she goes into the bubble, yes, I know I could go to the doctor and talk to an actual medical professional about all of this. I am aware of that. Someday I might.
You could go take the Alzheimer's test.
It is not currently that
I'm
limiting.
going to tell you 5 words, and then in 5 minutes, I'm asking you if you remember the 5 words.
Okay.
So they're like what they're saying it is stress related. They're also kind of saying it's not really. Well, okay, memory is not stored in the brain. It kind of goes into the collective consciousness, and then you just pull it from your file system.
Oh, that's how they look at it. Okay.
They're like they're kind of your own file system. They're like they're almost kind of like talking about the Akashic records. Like you would have like they're like look at it like a library. Like the Akashic records or the collective consciousness is like a library, and you have your own section in the library. So you can ask other people to check your library section for you, like we're doing right now. But it's not like everyone just has access to everybody else's library. You can kind of say, "This is my library. Nobody can come in here unless I tell them." Or ask them to or whatever.
Yeah, because
So
side note, that is what that coach that we worked with did on the very first call that I had with him. Literally must have, remember he like tapped in. He was telling me all this stuff from high school
yeah.
and was right about it. And this is not shit that I had written about or posted on my social media because I am too old for any of my high school to appear in social media.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, so our psychic business coach that we had, it's something about our agreement that we had with him that he just had full on access to everything. It's like, whatever, I don't have any secrets. So, but it was all in okay, well, that was all in the interest, like, how do I say this? There was like a soul desire on your and my parts to have an end result to work with this guy, and he was able to access things that got us along, that moved us on along toward that result.
Yeah.
So like it wasn't just like a free for all, really. It was like these specific things would help get us toward where we wanted to go with that. What is happening? Oh, okay. So they're also kind of like, it would be overwhelming for us to remember all of everything that we've experienced all at once anyway. So it's natural that some of these things would just like vanish from memory because they could just be not important enough. But yours does seem to line up with stress. It's like, it almost goes like 2 ways for you. It's like, it's either really, really vivid and you remember all of it, or you just put it in a drawer and lock the key and just say, fuck it, I don't ever want to think about that again.
Yeah, no, that is exactly my
And you're kind of
approach.
doing it in the moment. Like
Oh,
there's a little bit of like they're showing this at the airport and they're like, there's like part of you that's going, I don't need this information for any future moment in time. What, you're never going through the Dublin airport again? Or like you're telling yourself, they're like, you're telling yourself, I'm finding the one piece of information that's necessary, which is when you go through the Dublin airport, you go through customs first. So you better get your shit together and get to the gate earlier than you think you do need to.
right.
So you like take the piece of information that you need to file so that should you ever end up in Dublin again, it's like it'll come forward. But you just like wipe it out. You're like, I don't fucking need to remember this at all. You're kind of wiping it. Like now they want to go back to the hotels though. So like they're talking about what your sister can remember and that experience. And they're just like, more people have those, more people, because I'm Laura speaking now. I have this too, where someone will say something like, I have zero recollection of that happening. They're like, this is more normal than people really talk about, actually. Because like my sister has a, she fucking remembers everything from when
I
we were
used
kids.
to too. I used to remember everything. Maybe I just decided things weren't important.
Yeah.
Maybe I hit like, did I hit the storage capacity and I just didn't want to upgrade? Like, because I could see
You're not
myself.
paying the monthly premium.
No, I'm not. I'm not paying for that. I'll just delete some of this old stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's really funny. The hotel stuff is like, they're reminding me of, well, what they're kind of saying is it gets all jumbled up because the hotels are all kind of alike. The room numbers are all whatever. Your parking garages all look the same. It's like that's kind of a mess. And they're reminding me of two things. One, when my sisters were playing in the NCAA Division III National Championship, my parents and I flew with my sister that has Down syndrome. We drove over to Dayton, Ohio to fly to the East Coast. Barely made it. Actually got off the plane in New York, even though we were supposed to fly to Boston, to drive to Springfield, Massachusetts. There was a nor'easter snowstorm. They were like shutting the airport down. So we get to the parking garage and we walk up to the car to get in the rental car. And Audrey's like, our car is brown. This one is white. And we're like, Audrey, we're in a different city. Like, we're not getting that car. We explained it to her, she was fine. But it was like, we had just been so stressed. We were like running through the airport. So she was feeling the stress of it. But they're just showing like how common it is for like, you're in another fucking parking garage. You're in another fucking airport. Like Audrey's looking at this car going, this isn't the right car. And we're like, it's just so chaotic. When there is stress, your brain is not functioning properly. So it makes sense that if you're doing that much traveling and it's not like so routine all the time, or you're changing rooms every time you travel, to need to write that stuff down. They're just like, but it's really the stress short circuits the memory. It makes it hard to remember stuff.
Yeah.
So like, that's a little bit different than the other questions you were asking, where it was like the thing in Ireland wasn't that stressful. We figured it out. We were like, oh God, are we going to make it? But then we made it. So yeah. So mostly stress, and memories just fade. Like that's just kind of how it is. Then there'll be like my sister and I were talking the other day about all those memes and things they have. Like if you follow any of the 80s or 90s people on Instagram and they show like the toy and you see the toy and there's just like all, like you can smell it, you can feel it in your hands, like how all those memories come back.
Right.
So it's a little bit of like understanding what kind of learner you are, because the memories are going to be sitting. And that's kind of some of the stuff we do with like the psychic developments or like the whisper training is there's a meditation that I have somewhere that we'll use, but where you go back to a memory and you see what sense is most present in that memory.
Oh, right.
Are you seeing the picture? Are you hearing some music? Are you smelling the cinnamon rolls or whatever? Like, and that sense that jumps forward is tied to which Claire. So like if you're visual and your sister's just describing it auditorily versus if she pulls a picture up of that moment, like it might all come back to you more if you're a visual learner.
Yeah, although, yes, that is true. Although I've gotten really good at, if you say something, like the picture gets painted for me
Mm-hmm.
while you're
Yeah.
saying it. It's like it fills in. Um, yeah, I don't know. Okay, good. So I don't have a brain tumor that I need to worry about.
No. No.
Excellent.
They're just like, just they kind of are saying when you hear someone describing a memory, just ask, and you don't have it anymore, just ask yourself, why might I have chosen to block that out?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Like, it could even be first, did I choose to block that out or to just like not remember? Or like basically, did it fade away? Like naturally, just it hasn't been in my mind in so many years that I just don't remember it? Or did I choose to block it out, like actively be like, I don't want to think about that anymore? And you could just like test yourself and check with yourself.
Here's what I'm like, they keep dropping this in on repeat. So I'm going to share it and then I want to like hear what you have to say about it. Is part of the challenge that I had and still have on occasion is like, I don't want to say it, acting in the present moment, but mentally being in the next moment. So like
That did come up earlier, actually.
why I might be giving an instruction or having an interaction in this moment, my brain is like thinking the next moment or a few moments ahead because I have to be planning for that to get there. And so I'm not fully present in this existing moment to properly log it away. It's like it almost didn't happen because part of my brain is in a moment, like futurizing in a moment that hasn't occurred yet that I'm preparing for.
Yeah, that did actually pop in earlier when you were asking about. I think it was more about the hotel rooms and the parking garage and like all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. Like in the moment back then, or well, there's two things. Like one was you're like they're just showing how like in order to remember what hotel room you're in, you have to like stand there and stare at it or write it down. Like everyone's doing this, writing it down somewhere. You can't
Yeah,
be in the next moment. So they're
right.
like you were jumping so far ahead because of the stress.
Yeah.
And then some of that from childhood is
Also
jumping
stress.
ahead too to protect yourself. Like what could possibly be all the scenarios that could happen based on what's happening right now.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So
Snaps.
it's good. Yeah. Like they're kind of like you can now, because you've worked through so much of your past traumas, what you can do is now like be, well, just be present. No, so cliche.
Well, it's true. And I tried this in Mexico, which was don't think about like what's happening in the afternoon. Just stay present in the morning and let the afternoon happen when the afternoon happens.
Mm-hmm.
Which is easy to do when I'm not stressed.
Right. Right. It's like this, like the stress response creates the need to plan for what's going to happen next.
Right. And actually, that stress response is, I mean, this is going to be like a no shit moment, but like that stress response is driven by the anxiety of not knowing what's happening next. So
Yeah.
preparing for all the potentials of what could happen next versus just being like, whatever happens next is fine and I'm fine. And then
Yeah.
that would allow me to be more present.
Yeah.
I don't have to prepare. I spent my whole life preparing.
Right. Yeah.
And that got me severe trauma during a hurricane. So what does it matter?
Right. The point is you can't prepare really.
No, you cannot.
Yeah.
All right, that was good stuff.
That was good
Thanks.
stuff. Yeah. That was deep,
Mm-hmm.
deep, deep, deep. That wraps this episode of One Card Shy. Did you love it? Leave us a review, share it with your friends, and sign up for our monthly crown straightener. Bonus, you'll get our free Claim Your Crown guide when you subscribe.
And be sure to find us on Instagram and check out our website. Both are rainworld.co. All the links are below. See you next time, Queens.